All right. So this is round 3 from Worlds. This is, I guess at this point, I'm what, 3-1? Oh god, I've already forgotten where I took all my wins and losses. I know we did all this.
That was so long
I
ago.
know, that was like weeks ago, and from that, in 2020 years, that's an eternity, so. But yeah, so here we've got uh, round 3 games. This is Ken, my runner, against the outfit. Wayland, which gains a lot of money when they take bad pub.
Yeah.
Dakota and Luke are still here with me.
I'm
Hey,
Luke.
hey. Dakota here.
All right, so let's get things rolling. That's when I'm when I'm looking at openers.
Yeah.
I'm looking for 2 cards, like 2 bits. I'm looking for my console, public terminals, or like massive card draw. I'm usually gonna mulligan a hand that doesn't have like Swift or public terminals. Anyway, one of the most important bits with I guess we can, well, this is gonna be a slow turn or two here. One of the most important bits about our opponent, the outfit, is determining which style of outfit are they.
Yeah. It's very common for this ident to be some sort of kill deck.
Yes, because it can leverage all that money to, like, that's why I didn't run there. Is like I don't know what they are yet, and I don't have the money to fight yet. Like, you know, if they were to just go too big to fail, hard hitting news or something like that.
Yeah, that would be very bad.
So
at this point.
However, my boomerang draw here gives me a really nice choice. I'm holding I'm not holding a diversion, but I'm holding some reasonable pressure bits for HQ.
Yeah, legwork looks good here. There's always the potential of hitting 2 snares, but
yeah, the big thing is I want to know. And then, okay, so, oh boy, oh god, all right.
This 5-3 is the bane of gens.
SDS drone deployment. Every faction has one of these 5-3s at this point. I invite you to read it because I didn't. As an additional cost to steal this agenda, you have to trash a program. When you score it, trash a program. I don't have any programs in play. I don't have any programs in hand. My deck is actually very, very hard at getting this card off of.
Yeah, you run very few programs and not many ways to recur them. Or any that I know of.
And here's the stuff that scares the shit out of me.
There it is. Yep. So, consulting visit, hard-hitting news.
So I immediately gained some credits.
So I was gonna ask. You said what flavor of Wayland is this? But what are the possible flavors? I mean, Wayland always tries to kill you. That's what they're good at. But what's the different flavors of this ident?
So this one,
which one did you discover they are? Because it sounds like you did.
So the as far as flavors go, like one of the first type with this much money is some sort of kill variant. You have infinite cash to start with things like hostile takeover and too big to fail. The hostile takeover gives you 7 in a bad pub. The bad pub makes that 10. Too big to fail gives you what? 10? 7 for 0? And 10 off of the bad pub, something like that. It's an unreasonable amount of cash. So they can use hard-hitting news, throw a bunch of tags on you, and then boom, you're dead. Especially with Consulting Visit, which allows you to tutor for an operation and play it. So seeing hard-hitting news and Consulting Visit makes me scared to death that they are a kill variant that's going to hard-hitting news boom me. They also could be more on like a punitive line, or they might just be using this money to build Like, even though it's like 3 bad pub for me, they might, based on like things they res, they might just be using the money to build very hostile servers,
Okay. So they could
Yeah.
be, they are big money, and they could either be using that for big walls or for big guns. And
Yeah.
it looks like they're doing big guns.
So I decide I know 2 operations in their hand, and I don't want them to be there, and I have a boomerang on HQ, so
Ooh, and a diversion.
yeah.
You got options here. You could either break them of money
Now
or just trash the cards out of their hand.
Now here's the trick. You say options. I have Swift.
Oh,
I can do all of these
why not
things.
both?
Yeah. So I decided to go
That's
with
right.
break them so that they can't score.
Yeah.
Even if they res the ice, like I'll be able to get through, break them, and then they can't score the SDS. It gives me time to maybe draw Tapeworm or Paperclip. Those are the 2 that would be good to get rolling. They decide to res because they want to burn the boomerang.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty easy break for Boomerang.
Yeah.
You can take their 2 credits.
Yeah,
Or maybe you consider accessing if they're short
I
3 to score.
I think with them on $0, I think or on this low money and trying to score, I think I break them out like fully.
Yeah.
It is a choice though. Especially the big thing is 2 of their cards in hand are known operations. So we already know that 50% of their hand is not worth accessing.
Yeah. And now you don't have the option of getting in there with the embezzle.
It's my 3rd Maker's Eye. I think about Maker's Eyeing, realize I'm just gonna hit another SDS because that's my luck, and decide to draw and discard the extra Swift doesn't do anything.
Well, it would still make you somewhat vulnerable to like too big to fail and hard hitting news.
Yeah. So we go with the Maker's Eye here anyway. I assume this is not gonna be a res defense, and if it is, it's gonna be like, why would you? So
Yep. There it is. Trash the Rashida. See an Ashfar.
Yeah, so another SDS. All right. Now, I got my extra click. Check out this sweet play.
Uh-oh, Jens. No.
Install the only sentry breaker in my deck, go.
Oof. That's a big misplay there. This is why you read the cards.
I've never read S. I just assumed it didn't. Anyway, by the way, they don't do it.
Wow.
I don't get it. What happened?
Okay, so SDS deployment has the text, you have to trash a program to steal it.
Oh.
But it further has the text, when you score this agenda, trash a program.
When they score it, you're going to trash this thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why did I install it? Who can say? Because I
Yeah. Well, why your opponent didn't just score and trash it? I guess maybe that's an NGO. No, there's no way that's NGO.
No, that's a they're. I think they didn't because they wanted one more turn of. They wanted to get some cash first.
I suppose they would have to break themselves again to do that.
And here I'm sitting here thinking, like, do I just like run and throw the Bugalter away for 3 points? How much does that matter? Like I am extremely unsure what to do here. I'm also still scared of hard-hitting news and consulting visit. I cannot I cannot run and go to low money. I will die for that action. You know, if I go to like $2-3 after a run, I will just explode. That's what I'm thinking here. So I'm thinking how much I want to pressure, how much I want to build up. You know, do I want to play the class act now? The class act lets you draw cards after your end step, which can protect you against 1 turn of boom. I think I decide that I do need some more cash here. I end up, and I'm still thinking about like those operations in hand.
Right. It would be really nice to be able to just trash those with the embezzle, but
Yeah,
it's a bit of a risk trying to go for it.
right now their known hand, by the way, is 3 cards. They'll have a 4th known card soon. Okay, so I finally find
Class act.
I finally find the tapeworm, and I'm super happy about that. You know, hey, there's tapeworm, and then here's where I blow up. Like, oh, sweet, they go score their SDS, I think. Oh, okay. Well, that sucks. Hmm. 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 Hmm.
Well, rip Bugalter.
Hmm.
Certainly tried.
Hmm. Anyway.
So now are you basically not able to break sentries except for Boomerang?
Angolo.
Angolo? Okay.
They have to double sentry to keep me out, so it's not actually as bad as it seems. Angolo would have been the worst one. I don't have a backup for code gates. Here, I'm kind of trying to figure out how to play the most of my hand out.
Yeah, you want to dump some of these cards. You don't have to discard them.
But yeah, so now the problem is 4 point. They're on 4 points and can just kind of do a score win rather than having to rely on any sort of murder or big money game, which is
Yeah, they have the 7th point in hand too.
yes.
They have the 2nd SDS, which, as we saw, is difficult to steal.
So I decide to bold, just go for this on R&D. They have 8 credits if they want to spend for some big thing.
Oh,
Great, cool.
Ooh,
So they-
trebuchet.
Trebuchet.
they gain a bad pub when they res, so it ends up costing them only 4.
Yes. And I cannot break this because, weird, I lost my breaker. Well, I actually think this one's a...
It's a sentry,
Yeah,
I
it's a
believe. And
sentry,
then there's
yeah.
a trace to trash a thing, I
No,
believe?
the trash is normal. The trace is to not access, or
Ah.
not steal. I decided not to fight this, because I'm only doing a single access.
Yeah, 6 is a lot. Big to fail. That's also a lot to trash.
Yeah. And then I figure, hey, let's get a program in place so I can steal an SDS when I see it.
Yeah.
Them drawing a too big to fail's really bad here in the sense of, like, we have them under control and now they take a 0 cost action to
Gain 10.
gain 10 and then they IPO.
Yeah.
So,
They're rich once again.
good news, I know most of their hand.
Yeah, I think you know their entire hand at this point.
Yeah, also, they're at 19 credits and I have a tapeworm.
Yeah, you gained 3. Nice.
So, we're in a bad position, but not an unwinnable position on this side. I think we still have to, like, respect the threat of hard-hitting news consulting visit, but not as much because our credit totals are pretty close. They can't really hard-hitting to break us. So right now, my thought process is, where do I start attacking? Where, like, obviously there's a known SDS in one of these 5 cards, either archive, server 1, or 3 in hand. I end up drawing. I want to take a bravado here instead of CBI raid because I don't want to. I actually want a little bit more forward progress on agendas right now.
I could see a case for playing CBI here.
Yeah, the big thing you'll notice with a lot of these choices is, or a lot of my turns, is that usually with Ken, my first couple actions are drawing up to 7 and then playing down to lower bits. I decide I want to know what that archives card is. It's the Apshar we saw earlier. Yeah. Ashfar. It's the ice we saw earlier. So I know their hand is consulting visit, hard-hitting news, and probably SDS. I don't think that's in server 1. So we're going to break our way in, name operation, and try to get 2 cards off this. And punitive counterstrike and consulting visit.
Interesting.
So that
means that the installed card must be SDS.
Yeah.
Yep. Advance. Okay.
then if
Ooh,
so I need to draw to get into that server, and my draw to look at is Ngolo or Boomerang, and I'm just so happy here. It's like, oh,
Ngolo is really good here.
because
All these one-eye servers.
Ngolo can break anything by turning it into a code gate. It can turn a thing into a code gate once a round. I'm super happy to be able to trash my tapeworm to steal this.
Stomping on in, yeah. Ingram, don't even need to paint it.
Barely need to break it. Like, I mean, in the sense that it's like,
Yeah, I mean, you've got 3 bad pubs, so it's, I think, free mostly. It's mostly free. Costs 1 to break. One real credit.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So yeah. From here, I actually feel like I'm in a strong position. Because of how our opponent is in this, like, very iceless, and all these maker's eyes I have backing me up.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I can pretty easily, or even with the fake Stargate.
So you got 2 clicks left.
Yeah, I think I'm deciding if I want to run server 3 here, which I'm pretty sure I do because I don't want a Rashida to happen.
Yeah. There it is.
Of course, it's Rashida.
It's always Rashida.
Last click. Draw, maybe? That's what I
Yeah,
would do? Yeah.
I think we want to get more. Embezzle's nice here because we know their hand is a hard-hitting news. Anyway, they're going to draw up. That's a pretty obvious play here. Draw a billion cards, and yeah, full hand. So yeah, now we are. I think about grabbing the special order, but it's like the inside job's going to do basically the same thing most of the time. All right. So here we have to spend a lot to break the trebuchet, but because of how much bad pub they have, the like 6 that costs is actually like 3. So yeah, from here we need to stop them from getting the last 3 points, and there's only 1 SDS left. All right, 2 border controls, not exactly what I want to see. Border control is an extreme stopper. But stealing another 5-3 is really nice news. From here, I think the question is where I want to find that last point. They no longer have the ability to just kill me. So this one, I'm pretty sure. I sit here and think for a while on what I want to discard. We have a lot, like, because of how much money we're at, a lot of things aren't really useful. Embezzle isn't great when I don't know their hand anymore. Inside Job could do real nice against a border control. And Diversion of Funds, if they go for some sort of large ice, I might be able to still prevent them from scoring. Anyway, time for them to make a hell server.
Wow, they really don't want you in there.
Yeah, 2 ice down and an IPO.
But they don't have anything to put in it yet.
Not yet. That turn, by the way, was them going install IPO. So I know the top card of their deck right now is a border control. And I know one of the cards in their hand is known. So I feel pretty confident in what I want to be doing right here. We want to start running the Stargate.
And filter their R&D.
Yes. The big reason I want to do Stargate over just doing a Maker's Eye here is that Stargate, if I miss, I can just hit that border control out.
Yeah.
Whereas I only need 1 point, so if I hit, it's over.
You did miss.
Yeah.
Ooh, can archive memories though.
Yeah, I end up hitting archive memories because like I'm not interested in what that'll be.
Ooh, diversion. You still have your swift trigger for the turn.
Yeah, that's why I'm thinking about it. It's probably diversion then draw. The ice on HQ is a code gate, so I don't know why Angolo is not giving me the like match and break there, but it does later in the but after 5,000 years, I finally find the public terminal that's supposed to make up my economy. All right, so from here, they just go for it.
Oof.
So that is a face-up piece of ice. It's one of my favorite.
Yeah.
Like, I have to take 4 meat damage to steal it.
I mean, that seems like a pretty clear line to victory for you here.
Yeah.
Draw up and just nab it.
Yeah, the cool thing about that card, again, talking about their deck, we've learned they're a kill deck. And CityWorks Project is a really, really strong way to set up their kills. They can install Advance, and you have to take 4 meat damage to steal it while it's on the board with 2 counters. Their deck also contains Punitive Counterstrike. And Punitive Counterstrike deals damage equal to the number of points stolen in the last turn. So if you took 4 meat damage to steal those 3 points, the Punitive's likely to just kill you.
Mm-hmm.
So I end up just inside jobbing.
Yeah.
I know that if I need, I can draw up an inside job a second time. The worst case would be the outer ice is cheap, and then the inner ice is border control.
Right.
That would be worst case, but even that wouldn't be enough to stop me. Basically, I think...
So there's a border control.
Yeah. I think it would have to be double border control, and we know that one of them's already in their hand right now. And even if it's... Because it was double border control, I would have to make the second one a code gate. They'd boot me out. No, I'd still be good. I just have to run 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah, I was wondering why you ran on click 2, but I suppose that makes sense if you're considering multiple border controls.
Yes.
Though I think they're just a little too poor.
Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
They could have booted me with their border control there, but they couldn't stop the run back.
Yep.
So yeah, that game was terrifying to me. I thought I lost it the moment I fucked up and died to SDS, but I think that, like, they just didn't have the defensive ice they needed to stop, like that server 1 there, that ice there being, like, Engram flush is not really a remote piece, right? That's not... Unless they're going for a kill. That's, again, this is a very kill-heavy deck. The point of this deck is to kill. So I think the best part of this I had is that, like, they're threatening a point win, and a point win is not how that deck is supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah. Well, and honestly, like, even despite the mistakes that you made early in the game, you played very well. And this is something that I myself have a lot of trouble with, is just knowing when it's safe to run. You know, making sure that you have enough credits to be able to fight a trace on hard-hitting news or something like that. And that's something that you did very well here, was just to not make runs that were going to put you at risk.
Yeah, that, like, and again, the moment I saw that it was the outfit, I knew that I had to be very, very, like, wary of that, because you might die. Like, part of playing against Wayland is knowing how to dodge death. So,
were they on their A game for trying to kill you? Because it didn't look like they had too many chances.
They never had a turn where, like, it would have been worthwhile to go for it, because either I hadn't ran and you can't play hard-hitting news without a run, or I did run, and for them to do it, they would have had to have, like, in some way let themselves be vulnerable. I think the best turn they had for going for it would have been the turn where they played a too big to fail, and went up to like $14. But even there, I think my money total would have just been clear 4 tags, and they would have spent most of their cash for nothing. Like, so like because the kill in this deck, I think the main kill in that deck is a punitive kill, not a like the boom kill's there too, but I think punitive is what you're when you're playing Public City Works, that's what you're going for. By the way, look at this hand.
So you pretty much outmaneuvered him.
Tried to very like other than the part where I didn't read their card. Yes, his card. Yeah, that was just me being a dunce. I gave them a card for no reason. Anyway, check out this opening hand. Do you like assets? Because I sure don't. Again, court mulligans are something you have to be wary about, but no ice against a criminal is not a place you want to be, just as a rule. You're liable to get hit by a diversion of funds and die. More so with Leela, when like they could like steal that Vitruvius and bounce one of my things, get things. Made a little worse. Let's go ahead and skip to the obvious choice. I end up mulliganing this. The redrawn hand is much more reliable. No agendas to feed out, and like a defense that I can actually use on R&D. So, okay. So I think this is the game that I said when I was talking to you, Dakota, that was decided on my turn 1 ice position.
Oh yeah, this is the game.
So I think this is where I decide to put Fairchild on a remote and tour guide on a central, and I think that changes the game too much in their favor. I'm not certain of that, again now, but that is what I end up thinking because they make so many bouncing runs with a turning wheel later. Anyway, my turn here feels pretty straightforward. I want to set up Moomba Temple. I want to defend it. I want to defend HQ because I'm playing against a criminal. And then I likely want to play that Violet. I'll have to discard 1, but like that's still probably worth it for the money. The alternate route would be like playing a nude Rashida. So yeah, you can see I sit here, I think on this choice for a little while. And I'm not sure that, I think that it should have been the other way around. Like,
yeah, I think so too.
Anyway, here's my drawback up.
Fairchild is such a strong piece of ice. It seems like kind of a waste to put it on a temple.
Anyway.
But, oh, there's tour guide.
Yeah, so first things first, my choice is immediately punished by Boomerang being able to break this, where they wouldn't have been able to get through Fairchild easily. They would have had to take something. And goodbye to most of my cash. So immediately that punishes me. Though, yeah, and then I just lose my. Yeah, so if that had been done in reverse, we would have been in a much stronger position, I feel. Anyway, outside of that, we're not in a terribly bad position. Like, I'm just.
Yeah, it was a loss, but only a minor loss at this point. You've only lost 1 econ card.
Yeah, and I have a Rashida and they don't have the money to like fully help that kind of thing. Sure gamble, but like before that, like right now they're just taking, they're not building a board. They are just taking crushing actions at my servers, They're trying to set back my economy, which smart play. They want to keep that down.
Right. And the runner's not installing any cards at all, so
No,
in theory
nothing.
they can't keep this up forever.
Right.
Is it very sad, fully operational?
Not the worst though, because
You throw 2 cards down and then play it?
I drew it on click
Mm,
1, so but I
okay.
will be able to use it to like reset, refill, and like what? Do you really want to crush my like? They'll have to go to broke to crush Jeeves here, so they don't. They then check the next one, which they would have to go to broke to crush. So they're correctly checking everything, but now we're at the point where like these aren't crushable cards, so now they're gonna start setting up economy. I do hope that I install an agenda in a server and then yeah, good. And then play my fully operational to gain $1 billion. This card's dumb.
Yeah, it's really strong.
You've been making it do work the whole tournament.
Yeah, it's so I end up drawing 4 specifically because I want to be able to like slam down a hand when it comes to scoring that agenda, which I can just advance 4 times with Jeeves. If it comes to that. I haven't defended R&D at all, and they've noticed that one. They're just taking econ actions. That was just draw cards. Okay, so the question here is, like, I can obviously score a successful field test, but it puts me at no money. And I have no econ right now.
Yeah, that's a tough choice.
So, like, I want to draw into something more like a Maryland or a, just something to get this rolling, because, like, the fully operational got me out of the hole, but now I'm in, like, I can take 1 action. I think I end up going for MCA after doing some drawing, because MCA is easily defendable here. What did I do?
Tier on R&D is a pretty cool move, I think. Kind of setting up for a later bashing when you get
Yeah,
the opportunity.
that is the hope there. Obviously, that ain't getting rezzed anytime soon, but I want to, like, the fear of, well, they just throw in R&D here with dirty laundries and stuff is definitely there. Best thing I want them to run into, okay, falsified credentials is just them gaining 5 because they know the court is the court. Or, they know Jeeves is Jeeves, and I haven't rezzed either. Falsified credentials is kind of a neat card. If I pull that back up. Name a card type, expose a card in a remote server, then gain 5 if you name the type right. Like, if you know what the card is, it's just sure gamble. If you're pretty certain what the card is, it's sure gamble if you're right. It's this, like...
Yeah, it seems pretty strong. I guess the main drawback is if the corp has no face-down cards installed in their servers, you can't actually play it.
Right. And then it just sits there and doesn't do anything.
Yeah. So, and this Leela definitely seems like she's taking the sort of the path of least resistance here, trying to check all of your servers as possible, but not really committing heavily to any path yet.
Yeah.
That will start to be more difficult now that there's 4 servers.
So this here is me realizing that Jeeves will not recognize me gaining 3 times if I don't res Jeeves before I start. I want to start getting MCA going, though. They don't have any board, and if I can get MCA to full, I can have some real wild turns. There's Miss Bones. Okay. Miss Bones is
Miss
12 credits to trash cards in play. An inside job just lets them jump on in, so
Yeah, Miss Bones I think is a very strong meta pick, especially versus Asa
yes.
decks.
I've seen a lot of decks. Okay, one thing to talk about here. The Cybernetics Court's been sitting face down for like 4 turns. And the immediate question is, why wasn't that res the moment they knew what a 0-cost card was? The answer is Lakshmi. Lakshmi is the asset I just drew that gains counters as you res cards. And I wanted to be able to use the res from Cybernetics Court to power Lakshmi. So again, I'm still trying to get some sort of ongoing econ. Or I could just advance the successful field test 4 times.
Which that would let you install your Maryland and your Lakshmi,
Yeah.
but you will be very low on credits once again.
The thing that scares the hell out of me is that sooner or later they like just play a legwork.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the second part of my play with tour guide that I think costs me in the long run is they play this turning wheel. Turning wheel gains a counter on the ending a run on HQ or R&D without stealing. So for a lot of this game, you're going to see them bounce off tour guide. Just, that's what they did. They played it and bounced off tour guide 3 times. With that in mind, I now have to
Start
doing the thing. All right, here's a dumb thing. Successful field test lets me install my hand. Oh yeah, but the other reason I have to start going is I drew a GFI. My hand is currently 9 points with 2 on the table. This can't continue. If like with the turning wheel, they could just get into my hand and steal everything.
Yeah.
So I end up just installing a bunch of cards here, and then they get to bounce one.
That's right. I wonder if I pick one of the cards you just installed.
It's probably like ice guarding R&D or ice guarding. It could be ice guarding G's as well. No, they went with one of my new cards. Yeah, they threw my Lakshmi back. Interesting. I like just looking at this here. I would have thought like R&D ice or even Jeeves ice would actually make most sense to me.
That would seem very strong. And that Lakshmi wasn't even defended, was it? Honestly, I can't tell. I can't see past server 4.
It's undefended. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like my huge fear here is look at that turning wheel. Again, 2 counters is an extra access. Look at that turning wheel and look at my hand. Like, the inside job my hand of the game ends on the spot. Like,
yeah.
They steal 6 points and I'm in hell and they bounce all my cards.
Gotta bluff your heart out.
I don't think bluffing works in this position in the sense that, like, I can't bluff against the onboard card that just does it when they're running HQ.
Yeah.
True.
I guess double icing HQ might be a consideration.
Could be. My other consideration is get the points the fuck out of here as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Start
jamming them through.
I think that's my like other thought process here is get Lakshmi. Oh, I didn't talk about it, but I think my install of Vitruvius in that remote was incorrect.
Yeah.
I think that wanted to be install of field test again instead, as I
To get more tempo
yeah.
in your score. Yeah.
I ended up deciding to try and defend R&D as you suggest, Luke. Here's all the agendas. Please go to R&D. Like you know, there's not a lot of bluffing I can do, but you're also not wrong. I need to bluff the shit out of this game. One of the things to mention, if we talk about the points in my deck, there's currently 1 scored, 1 on the table, and 3 in my hand. R&D contains 23 cards and only has 8 points remaining. If they do fall for it and go for R&D alone, they will have to go into R&D for every agenda. So
Hopefully, it'll at least buy you enough time to properly
yeah.
score or defend.
And here's where I'm thinking to myself, boy, howdy, I sure wish I would have installed the field test there, because I'm spending a lot of actions installing cards for my hand. And, like, I really would like to field test for it. Anyway, I have 4 cards in the hand. They have 5 counters on that turning wheel. If they can get through my ice. Though they're currently just going after my new servers. Like,
I mean, they're definitely working to keep you honest here.
Yeah.
No sneaking points by.
I think about rezzing Lakshmi and then rezzing all the cards, but like that'll just put a target on Lakshmi.
Yeah. Honestly, at this point, I think it's worthwhile just to waste their time,
Yeah.
letting them just poke around and not see points, as long as they're not running HQ.
Yeah, and then I think they run that last one, which is a Moomba Temple, which fine.
Which here you could consider rezzing Moomba to res other stuff, but honestly, not entirely necessary.
Okay, shuffle in the Maryland, dilute R&D, and also maybe draw that back up. I now have Purge as a real option, but come on. Anyway, I'm pretty sure this is where I decide I need to start getting rid of agendas. They bounce my ice on R&D, which makes me happy. That's actually exactly what I want them to do, right? Like, I want them to... God, I'm not playing this the way I should to win this. I'm watching this back, and this is my only time I should be scoring so hard right now. Like, these actions this way are just not worth the time.
Yeah, explain.
Okay, let me pause to talk about this. I've taken 3 turns of actions that are me just kind of sitting around installing cards to waste my opponent's time when they've been in a position with no breakers and no visible way to get through ice. Like, there's like, yes, they can be threatening on HQ, but the best way for me to anti-threaten that is get the agendas out of there, just score them. And I'm in a position where they have to keep pushing on like these servers where like they haven't been threatening anything I put behind ice at all. Like, basically past once I have like $7, they just stopped. So if I were to have played successful field test, or even after that Vitruvius, just installed successful field test in server 3 and passed, like that is a much safer place for my agendas than in my hand. Right now, they're so vulnerable in the hand, whereas behind server 3, they require them to like actively choose to go into that server, and like giving them like they've had like 2 or 3 turns of time where I've just been installing cards and they've been running back at them, where like nothing's been building on my end, but they've been slowly, building up turning wheel counters or getting a little bit more deeper in their deck.
Mm,
Like,
yeah, that all feels right.
like
It's weird seeing this deck like manually install things, so just exploding installs for free.
and now they special order in Golo, and now that's where, like, see, like, for the last bunch of turns, it's been reasonably simple. All I have to do is like uh to score is like they don't have breakers, they don't have anything. But now with an Ngolo and like the credit they have, can't really stop them from making things. On the plus side, I've just drawn a GFI. Scoring a GFI would win the game, and I have a Lakshmi on the board.
Yeah, that's really good.
Or like that's what server 7 is.
Do you have enough credits to go for the win next turn?
Yes. The bad news, I don't have I don't have enough cards to res to keep the GFI safe. I can only res one of the two cybernetics courts because they're unique. But what I can do is I can install this Lakshmi in a different server, and then res Lakshmi, res cybernetics court. That will put me to 5 credits, or like that'll put me to like right now I'm at 7 credits. I can advance this card once, go to 6 credits. Lakshmi puts me at 4 credits, and then I can advance, win.
Wow. Yeah, you have exactly enough.
Here's the problem. Like, here's the start. Okay, so they run at the server, right?
So you must res 3 cards.
I res Lakshmi, and I res Cybernetics Court, and I go ahead and go reveal GFI. GFI cannot be stolen this turn.
Oh.
That's perfect. Great. Both, so this run, they're not going to be able to steal the GFI. Against any other runner, the game ends right here.
Oh.
Any other runner.
Oh no.
I win on the next turn. However, Leela has text.
And it has to do with unresed cards.
Yes. And a lot of the times, my mind goes to unresed, unadvanced. That is not the text on Leela. It just says unresed. So all they have to do is steal an agenda, and they'll be able to bounce.
And there it is.
Yeah. So the killer here, I can use the 2 Lakshmi
To prevent one from being stolen.
one from being stolen, but I do not have enough counters to prevent the entire hand from being stolen.
Yeah.
And this is where the part where I just wasn't scoring out these cards fast enough is the killer. Because, I keep the Vitruvius, but they're seeing my entire hand. Oh, also, I don't know why, but they didn't use a turning wheel counter there to ensure that.
Yeah.
That confused me. If they had used a turning wheel, it would have been a 100% to steal from my hand, but instead they legwork and don't use a turning wheel and give themselves the out to lose. It's only a 25%, so not
That just feels like a mistake, though.
That's just something to note on the movement there. Anyway, my GFI gets bounced. We're in a very bad position. Anyway, time for them to start crushing all of my Lakshmis. They don't want to allow those to stick because that trick, if I run out of agendas for them to steal, actually will stop them, If they're able to crush all of my Lakshmis, yeah, that sucks. Anyway, I do res the tour guide here because they've already used Ngolo. and I want them to spend next turn trying to crush this, as well as get a little bit more on this Lakshmi, maybe allowing me to safely do something. I need money though, is the obvious issue right now. So the score is 2-4, and I've got the 3 points in hand to win this. But this is a game that is basically in very clear control by the runner. Again, with that turning wheel and the Ngolo, they have the ability to just run HQ and see everything. They also have the ability to deep dive R&D. R&D currently contains 6 points total. Yeah, watching this back, of all the games I've played, this is the one that I first see here, and I think, like, this is a mistake. Mistakes have been made. I need to...
Well, hindsight's 2020.
No, I disagree on where on the site, in the sense of, like, yes, it is a hindsight thing. Oh, here's a dumb move here I love. I overwrite the cybernetics court so that I can res the other cybernetics court.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
Like, hindsight's clearly 2020, but, like, just looking at the game position I was in, the fact that I spent 3 turns not scoring agendas when it's very clear I need to get agendas out of my hand is just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that one's probably a big one.
Like the hindsight's 2020 different one would be like, yeah, the placement of my ice might have been foolish because the turning wheel is kicking my ass, but, like, how was I going? That's less of a thing. Anyway, they go check the cybernetics core. I res it, so now I have 2 on my Yep, they bounce there. Oh god.
So they've got enough for a deep dig.
Yes, and I have no money.
If you didn't have that Lakshmi, they could just walk right into HQ and steal it.
Yes. That's why I had to, like, overwrite the cybernetics court and, like,
To get one more res. Yeah.
yeah. They still could win it. Actually, it wouldn't be. It would be actually pretty trivial. If they run, they don't. They might not know this because they don't know what server 2 is. But if they run HQ, use all the turning wheel counters, steal the GFI, bounce the other GFI, steal the GFI.
Yeah.
That would put them to 6. They can't win off this. They sure can kick my ass, though.
Yeah. So I would assume that you reveal the Vitruvius to prevent it from being stolen here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's, like, I'm gonna let the GFI go, but I'm definitely not gonna let the Vitruvius go because I don't want them to steal that many points.
Did they not use...
No!
What? What is going on?
Why do they hate their turning wheel?
I don't know. They just sniped it. They knew that they were gonna snipe it, so it didn't matter.
Ooh, another
Guys.
agenda.
Anyway, I should gain 3 credits and install an agenda. That's what I should do here.
Do you?
At this point, I'm pretty sure from here I play correctly. The problem is that I'm in such a poor position that isn't going to matter very much. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you've had like 0 money cards this entire game.
Yeah.
You've only gotten 1 Maryland campaign basically to go off for you.
Yeah, I got that and 1 fully operational, which is something
Yeah.
would love to have drawn. I end up resing the Hagen to waste a lot of their money here.
That's actually quite expensive to break with Ngolo.
Also, it will continuously be expensive to break with Ngolo. Like, I can keep using that as, like, a server to try to score out of, and they can't bounce it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's 6 to break with Ngolo, which is half their current cash. They're gonna steal the Vitruvius, go to 6 points, and then they need to, air quotes, find the last 2 points. Four points left in deck, by the way. So
Man.
they bounced my tier. Oh no. That I'm completely fine with them bouncing tier. That ice is never getting rezzed anymore.
Yeah. Was never gonna get rezzed.
Yeah. So Ngolo is such a strong breaker.
It really is, yeah.
This one's hilarious because like the tour guide actually works here.
I'm surprised with how effective Leela's text is being.
Leela is, in my mind, the strongest criminal currently and has been for like
Quite a while.
5 years. Like, when did Andromeda rotate?
I mean, you could argue that like 419 is pretty close, but yeah, Leela is very strong and has been for a while.
One of the things that makes Leela so strong is that text is not on steal or score, it's on both, right? Like, it doesn't matter if you're, currently like ahead or behind, like the text will keep functioning, and like some runner abilities might be like less effective because like, oh well, what if the here I'm trying to figure out how the heck I overwrite ice using this thing's ability. The answer is just go drag it away. But yeah, the big one of the bigger questions is like, how would I like 419 in some matchups might just not be doing anything because it's like against like what's that grid that lets you install ice for when you draw it?
Oh,
That's probably the biggest one I can think of that like 419 just doesn't do jack against.
yeah.
But like Leela, every corp has unrezzed cards. You can force that. You're either scoring agendas, which are unrezzed cards, or putting ice down, and you can kind of. Criminal has ways to make sure there are things for it to target. And, yeah.
Yep. And even more so, you can just choose to not run like say R&D until you get the bounce, and then you just get to have free access on it for a turn.
That's why I'm rezzing a lot of these defenses, even though they're like super easy to get through, is so that they are there.
Yeah, because having to go through take the time to reinstall all that is just backbreaking.
All right. So they decide it's time. They go to 10 counters on the turning wheel and go into R&D. So the bluff, air quotes, of where all my agendas are in my deck, I better defend R&D, I guess maybe worked. Anyway, there's 2 agendas left in R&D and 18 cards. They're seeing 6. So, not great odds. Not the worst odds. Not great, though. Unseen card, unseen card. Trash Rashida, unseen card, unseen card, unseen card.
Oh my
Unseen
goodness.
card.
Oh my goodness.
And we're fine. So, they don't have money anymore. Good news.
So, and they knew the other GFIs in your hand, right? No, because they bounced it. It was unrezzed, yeah.
Yes, they did know that.
They stole one and bounced the other, so they should.
Because
But it was never advanced, so it could have been any asset.
No.
Right?
It was advanced once.
There was the one that was advanced once that I had to reveal a GFI to defend the GFI.
Oh, right. Yes, right. You revealed
So,
the
like,
one.
of my cards, either server 2 or my hand has GFI.
Yeah.
Anyway, the question here is, do I score the Vitruvius? The answer is I'm broke as shit. Like,
Tough call, but yeah. At least you can threaten the double ice on server 2 to potentially stop them from getting in.
yes. Also, they don't have any money, so like, right. Okay,
They're
anyway.
broke, yeah.
Money, sure gamble. Ooh.
That's good.
Timing on this kind of sucks because I have to advance, and then...
So you get one less trigger, but it's the only way to score it this turn.
Yes.
And they get to bounce a card. Okay. So your last click.
How do I win from here? I think the way I would win from here is I would need to set up server 2 to have... I need to set up a server that has, like, a non-Ngolo-able setup.
Yeah.
Or...
And then even then you gotta pray they don't have inside job or some other trick to get in.
Yeah. Or one of the other things that could work from this position is if I draw the final GFI, I can Lakshmi to block it.
Hmm.
Anyway, I decide here they haven't called this bluff for like 1,000 years. They're not calling it today. See, I need 2 turns to be able to win this, and I need them to, like... Basically, the way I win this game is I need them to, like, make another big dig with, like, turning wheel.
Ooh.
Okay. I need them to go broke because I need to be able to... It takes me 2 turns to score my agenda, right?
Hmm. Well, at least they're using Ngolo here, so they can't Ngolo your Hagen.
Right. So, like, they can steal all my money. The reasoning here, I think, is that if that's the Vitruvius, this is the way they stop me from winning.
Yeah.
Whereas if they try to run at it, if I... Actually, I don't know what I would be able to res that would stop them.
4th tour guide.
You know, my 4th tour guide. Perfect defense.
Flawless.
That probably is what I should have probably played. Clearly.
Tour guide's pretty good.
All right. My play here, in my mind, should be Jeeves in server 3.
Get the fully operational going.
No. Fully operational, gain $8, overwrite Gatekeeper with double Hagen, advance server 2.
Yeah, that actually looks pretty solid.
That's none of those lines. All right. I'm flailing trying to find my fully operational right here.
Yeah, it's in your
No, it's
should
not.
be it's in the play area.
Yeah. This is like I'm looking for it in like help.
Yeah, there you go. So gaining all the money.
Yeah. But
Yeah, this
that
is just a slightly,
that was a mistake.
I think,
I should
too
have.
too passive of a line.
Well, like this doesn't threaten the win.
Yeah,
I needed to threaten the win.
and if you would have just advanced server 2, it's not defended enough to be able to prevent him from just stealing it. So yeah, you really needed to be able to overwrite that ice and then money up in advance.
I would be at
You'd have 2 less credits plus minus 1, so you'd be at 7 credits, which is actually not quite enough money to res the ice and score.
It's not, but it's still enough to like make them run into a double Hagen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though, the actual answer is that none of that mattered.
Yeah, here's that dig you're looking for.
So,
R&D.
this dig on R&D makes no sense.
You just saw like 8 cards and 0 agendas.
The top 2 cards are known. Like, the only card they're getting new here is the bottom card. I'm pretty sure by count. They might be getting 2 new cards here. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but...
Ah, dang.
But yeah, the, like... But yeah, so that's why I said that, like, my ice placement was why I lost this game, but looking at it, that was one of a multiple actions that led to it. There was no one point where I lost this.
Yeah.
There were...
The ice placement would have definitely given you a lot stronger position to start the game off with, but you really struggled to find any sort of economy and get it to stick this game.
Right. And, like, following that, like not completely realizing the position I was in, or, like, how aggressive I needed to be.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, so those 3 turns you're talking about where you should have just jammed out agendas. I don't know, but I think you might have been just too broke to do that. You only had like 6 or 7 credits for most of that time.
yeah. I think the 2 main things to me is not, like, spending the entirety of those turns doing it. Just, like, I needed to go, like, 1 turn earlier. Like, just
Yeah.
start scoring Vitruvius out, especially when they have no breakers and aren't threatening things. Also, this one's more of a hindsight bit, but not installing successful field test off of successful field test doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Because chaining those is just as effective time-wise as playing a Vitruvius from hand.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's I think that's it for round 3. But yeah, so that ended up being a split. I feel really good about everything in the Corp game other than me not reading a card. This one I feel reasonable about, though there's a number of improvement points to have been made. The whole, like, all right, let's play around diversion of funds completely fails to play around diversion of funds. Like, is a real good bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's round 3.